that's what's tricky about hunting. If you want to kill something bigger, you have to pass up on something smaller, and you're taking a risk. So there's a saying, don't pass up on the first day what you'd kill on the last day, which really doesn't make sense if you think about it. But people say that, right? Because you if you pass it up, that was your opportunity. That could very well be your opportunity the entire hunt. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Solid. We're excited to be with you here again today. Jeff and I speak a little bit about the awesome hunt that I just had the opportunity to do in New Mexico and talk about some of the lessons there. And we actually did a two-parter today, so that'll be kind of the first part of it. We may even get into some of the other stuff that we're getting into for we're putting together some awesome experiences and workshops for 2023 that all of you would have an opportunity to come and attend live, and we get into some of that as well. So we're excited to share this with you today. I think you're going to enjoy it, and if you haven't yet, be sure to like and subscribe, and leave comments and let us know what you'd like to see more of, and enjoy this episode.
The hunt you just went on. And then maybe
I haven't shared any of the details. You saw some pictures. That's about it.
Yeah, it'll be awesome to hear, which is good because, I hear it firsthand.
Yeah, we had a good time. So I've never hunted this area of New Mexico that we went to.
Okay. Where was it? Like, it was like
so
on the border of Colorado, right?
Yep, just south of the border of Colorado. If you know where Taos is, there's a little town called Taos. It was probably 30, 40 minutes from there.
Okay.
And really high elevation. Yeah. We were hunting 10,000 feet. To 12,000 feet. And so really high elevation, and then middle of December, so it's really cold.
So you drive all the way in, or did you drive and then how are you getting to where you're hunting?
So this camp that we have there it's as good as any camp I've been to. Maybe better, and it's better in a lot of ways. Yeah. Just the way they've got it all set up. It's a family-owned operation, and generations and generations have hunted this ranch. And so like one of the guys there was the old uncle, and he had hunted it since he was, I don't know, the last probably 40 years he's hunted this ranch. It's a 100,000 acre private ranch.
Awesome.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know how many miles that is, but that's, if you look at all the cuts and everything, it's probably 100 miles or more of just
terrain.
Yep. And it's private, so nobody else can hunt there unless you have a tag for that ranch. And they hunt it for archery season. They hunt it for early rifle, late rifle. They have a youth mule deer hunt they do in November, which is really cool.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
I think might take Bridger on that next year. Maybe he's got to practice a little more because it's a tough hunt.
Especially that high in elevation.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody at the gym the other day, and they go, "Isn't that kind of like rolling hills?" I'm like, "No, it is like straight up, straight down." They need a fire there because it's so thick. A fire would do it good. The problem with the fire is it would burn the whole dang thing down because it's so wooded. A lot of pinyon trees and then aspens and the problem we had when we get so I originally was going to go in the end of October, is when my original tag was. And Tony, the main head guide there, called me and says, "Hey, you want to come out with Brian and Brad in December? It's a later hunt." And I said, "Hey man, whatever's a better chance of getting a bigger bull, I'm all for it." He goes, "The good thing about a late December hunt, if we get snow, those bigger bulls, we don't see them all year, and they tend to come out and feed in the lower country if there's snow on top."
Right.
So he goes, "So you're still, basing it on if there's snow or not. If there's no snow, then,
same hunt.
It's same hunt." Mm-hmm. Well, we got there was no snow. So we were joking because where Brian and Brad live in South Dakota, anybody who's watched the news last week has seen that. They got pounded with snow and then like negative 40-degree wind chill, right? Yeah. Just got hammered. So they got in like late because they had to go a long way around to even get there because they were leaving from Spearfish, South Dakota. And they pull in and they're like, "Hey, you guys prayed for snow for us, but we got it where we live. You need to pray for snow for us here."
Yeah.
So we got there and they're just, when I say there's no snow, there was still a foot of snow up on top, but that's not enough to push these big elk.
Yeah, there wasn't a big storm, yeah.
Yeah. So it ended up being a pretty tough hunt, just because we kind of were hoping we'd get there and there'd be bulls out in maybe some of the sagebrush flats,
Yep.
And there's some cows that were down there, cow elk, and some smaller bulls, but none of the big bulls that we saw down there. Yeah. So we had to drive. So we got there. We stayed in some cabins. The good thing is the cabins that we stayed in. So first of all, they're really nice, and they're at 10,000 feet. So we got there a day early, and that gives your body a chance to acclimate a little bit because we're here at 3,000 feet in St. George, right? Yep. So you get up there, and it gives you a day to kind of get used to that 10,000 feet elevation. Go out and hike around a little bit and walk around a little bit. And then you stay there the whole time, so you're not dropping way down every day and then going back up. So you're within a half an hour of good hunting every day.
Awesome.
It's like we got to get yours set up, and this is probably one you want to consider if you want to do a good elk hunt.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there are big bulls there, but a lot of people underestimate what it takes to really get a big bull. Right. I mean, there are 350-inch to 400-inch bulls in the area, but I would say, it's likely you're going to get a 300 to 350 bull is likely you're going to get a 80 to 90% shot opportunity to a bull like that. Like the bull I killed is probably a 320, 330 bull.
Okay. I mean, there's a reason they've lived that long to get that big.
Exactly. Like mine was actually a younger bull, still a mature bull. The bull Brian killed was probably in its last year of life. Really beautiful, nice 6x6. In fact, his bull was with my bull when he killed his.
Awesome.
And then Brad, he killed a 355 bull, old 5x7, nasty, big, just a cool bull. Same thing, probably last year. No teeth, right? The teeth. I don't even know how they eat when they get their teeth that low. So it was cool. We all three got really, really good bulls, but it was a tough hunt. We went the first couple of days, and I didn't have a legit shot opportunity until the last day. Yeah. And so it was a 5-day hunt. So I went every day, and we saw some cows, saw some smaller bulls. Second to last day, we did see a giant bull. In fact, I got to show you this real quick.
Is that the one you took a shot on?
Yes. Look at this. You got to watch this. This is cool. Those are listening can't see it, but okay.
I think maybe we can give Mallory the video and she can post it.
So first of all, that's a giant bull. Yeah. Okay. So let me fast forward here. Look at that. Now his left side is broke off. See, his left side's broke off.
Tell, yeah.
But still, as big a bull as that is. So he's at 1,350 yards here. So I take a shot. You'll see the shot. It hits right underneath his neck right there. Did you see that?
Yep.
So one more minute of elevation, I would have smacked him right about there and dropped him probably. It would have been
he didn't even realize what it was, did he?
No, and then you'll see I shoot again because the guy that was with me goes, "You hit him."
Look at him.
Yeah, he's a giant bull.
Oh my gosh.
So that's that day, right? So I get back to camp, and Brian and Brad are getting ready to take off. They killed both their bulls the day before, and so I get back and show them all this, and they're like, "Dang, man! Like, look at that thing."
Yeah, seriously.
He's just a toad. So anyway, next morning I get up, last morning of the hunt, right? And go, let's just go back, see if he's out there again. He's not too spooked. So we're driving up, and we drive up, and Luke, the guy we were hunting with, he goes, there they are. So we stop, and there's two bulls, and here's my shot opportunity. Most people wouldn't even consider this a shot opportunity because I would consider a shot opportunity on a rifle hunt 500 yards or closer.
Yeah.
And in a place where you can actually get a shot at 500 or closer, right? A lot of times you see some at 500 yards, but there's no shot. They're in trees. You're in a spot.
In the way
you can't get set up. So we spot these at 750. So we go and we were luckily in a place where the hillside we're on goes down like this, then it goes up the other side, right? So we're like right here, they're up on the mountain.
Yeah.
And there's two bulls. So I get all set up, and I get set up on the right. They go, the right one's a big bull. So I just get set up on the right one.
Yeah.
And I go, okay, I got it dialed in. I go, I'm on him. I'm going to take him. So I shoot. Whack. I hit him, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, good hit. Well, as soon as I hit him, I look over in my scope, and that giant boy was
Sitting
there.
right next to him.
Yep, but his head was in a tree, right?
Yeah.
So when he turns, I'm like, that's the bull from yesterday. Tell me I missed.
Yeah.
Please tell me I missed. Because I could have shot him. Like I was on him. I'm like, oh man. And so anyway,
but you didn't miss.
I didn't miss. Yeah. The one time I did not want to miss. I wanted to miss. I did not miss.
Yeah.
And then he was just in a tough spot, and I had to shoot him a couple more times just because it was a really tough angle, but we ended up getting him that last day, which is rewarding. And he's a good bull.
Yeah.
He's a good bull and got one. And, I try to just be grateful for that, right? I pray every time I go out, and that's the bull that God blessed me with. And I need to be grateful for that and stop thinking to myself, dang it, what if it wasn't meant to be, right?
Yeah.
That bigger bull will be there next year if you want to go back next year.
And
he'll have both sides.
Yeah.
He won't be broke off,
Heck yeah.
So I brought my nephew with me. It was fun to have him there with me and experience all that.
Yeah.
And then the way back, we got a really furry, fluffy coyote on the way back too.
Yeah, I saw that. So and bobcat too, right? Didn't you get bobcat?
No, that was a couple weeks before.
Oh, that was before.
But
okay.
But awesome. that coyote, man, that was.
Yeah, he was big.
He was probably the biggest one I've gotten. And I was dragging him out, and man, heavy. And then I skinned him out, and just super, super thick. We get that
because of the weather too. I'm sure, huh?
Yeah, really cold, and had like an inch of fat on him.
That's awesome.
And then that bull, man, same thing. Those bulls are just, they're so much good meat.
Yeah.
In fact, so I got home, and I usually have the butcher process it. So I got home and I called the butcher. I go, hey, can you process this elk for me? And he goes, oh, we're done doing wild game for the year. I'm like, could you make an exception for me?
Yeah.
So luckily, Christmas Eve, he said, this is Christmas Eve. We're normally not open. We'll make an exception for you. Otherwise, I would have been doing my own, which I could do, but I'd rather not, right? So I already have it butchered. It's already in my freezer.
That's awesome.
So before you leave today, you need to get some steaks and some burger.
For sure, man.
But anyway, I'll tell you, anybody who's looking for a great adventure like that, I want to go back and do that hunt again, just because there's no guarantee of a giant bull, but they are there.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of hunt I like.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're seeing elk and you're seeing good animals all the time.
Well, I think that's with anything, right? You've got to put the work in, and then that reward is so much sweeter.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that. Like, do you think that, like, when you start a hunt like that and you're on the last day, what was it, 5-6 days?
5 days. Yep.
So do you think if you got that bull on day one, do you think the reward? Do you think you would feel as rewarded as getting it on the last day?
It's a bittersweet because I've had that happen. Okay, so like this dull sheep behind me.
Yeah.
I killed it on opening day, but it was my second time up there. Right, so I had to go for 2 times to get to Alaska to get a dull sheep, and we sat on him the whole day before.
Yeah.
So it really, even though it was killed on opening day, we still had to do the work the day prior to find it, get on it, and then even the day we had to go kill it, we had to figure out how to get to him and actually get him killed. So there's been times, you kill on the first day, like that deer on the top there. We killed him in Colorado. Yeah. First day.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, that was fast. Like we had all our food and everything already, right? And my dad was there with me, and we were ready for a whole week, Mm-hmm. And so that does happen. But that's what's tricky about hunting. If you want to kill something bigger, you have to pass up on something smaller, and you're taking a risk.
Yep.
So there's a saying, don't pass up on the first day what you'd kill on the last day, which really doesn't make sense if you think about it. But people say that, right? Because you if you pass it up, that was your opportunity.
Yeah.
That could very well be your opportunity the entire hunt.
Yeah.
This elk hunt, I'll tell you a couple things. If you couldn't shoot past 700 yards, you wouldn't have got an elk.
Right.
Brad's was over 700 yards. Brian's actually was like 450.
Yeah.
So he was able to get into his was in a spot where he could get into that close. Yeah. And trust me, if I can close the distance between closer the better. If I can get within bow range, I'm going to get within bow range.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's another question I have because I've been trying to get a bunch of practice in behind the gun before I really set out on these adventures.
Yes.
How many guys do you think? How many people do you think have the ability to shoot that far out, 500, 600, 700, 800 yards?
Not very many. So we sent, I don't know, maybe a dozen hunters into this camp this year.
Okay.
None of them could before they went. So say they hadn't been to a shooting school.
Yeah.
We tell everybody you should come to a shooting school before you go do this hunt.
Yeah.
None of them did. They were missing elk at 150, 200 yard shots. I'm like, please give me a 200-yard shot. Are you
serious?
Please, so they just it's and you'll see. Now look, I've missed shots at 100 yards. I've missed them. I mean, coyotes, I've missed it 50 yards. I mean, it happens.
I was telling you the other day, I was hitting, I had my target set out at 600 yards and I was 7 for 8. I missed one, the first one. And then, it was windy. But resetting up on the target every time. So I'm like, I want to get to a place where I can hit it, boom, another one, hit it, boom, another one, and just feel comfortable behind.
Were you able to see your shot? Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That means you were probably set up really good. We've taught you all that, right? Get lined up, get your natural point aim right. Because ideally, you want to be able to see where your bullet hits.
Right.
And the problem with the bull, that first bull at 1350, is it was so far away, I couldn't tell where I hit.
Right.
And I didn't have a spotter who knew what I had the guide there, and my phone was set up. That's how I recorded it all. But you have to have a trained eye kind of to be a good spotter.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't that. So he goes, you hit it. Well, if I would have been able to see where I hit, I could, because I shot a second time.
Yeah.
And I could have corrected and probably killed him.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell. He said I hit. I thought I hit. So I put it exact same spot as I did before and actually hit, very similar spot the second time, obviously. So whereas I've killed other deer where, I've been able to see where I've maybe missed the first shot and I saw where I missed because it was windy or big angle or whatever, and able to correct it and kill it on the second shot.
Right. Yeah, and that just comes down to preparation. That's one of the things I've just tried to do is, just prepare and just be confident in my ability, because it's a whole nother ball game shooting something 500 yards or out, especially if you can't get this perfect setup you've been training
and
for.
If you're shooting at a live animal, and you're excited, when you see a mature mule deer or elk, and you're like, I'm going to kill that. If you don't get excited at that point, you shouldn't hunt. Right? Because that's when you start getting shaky. Sometimes you don't shake a whole lot till after the shot. But man, you shoot something, it kills. There's a special feeling. It's not like a barbaric feeling. It's an emotional wow, that was cool. I just did that. I just now I got to go get this. And you respect these animals so much, the way they live and survive. And people go, if you respect them, why do you kill them? Well, and we can get into all that another time. But these animals like Brian and Brad's elk, they weren't probably going to maybe make it this winter. They were out there last year. So what was going to happen to them? They were either going to starve to death or probably a lion was going to get them. I got to show you this too. The lions that are there are
getting fed really well with some big bulls.
Look at this one. So Wayne, we're going to have Wayne on here. Wayne was I think he's got a Purple Heart from the military.
Awesome.
Served in the Army and served our country. Has some incredible stories, but look at this cat. Oh, where did it go? Oh, there it is.
Oh, wow.
That's where we were hunting.
Oh, my gosh.
That's probably
look at
a
that
220-pound lion. So you see those, that's how those elk are going to die, right? They're going to get eaten alive. The cleanest ethical kill is a bullet. I mean,
Well, and I mean, they've just reintroduced wolves to that area too, haven't they?
They have. That's not a good thing. Actually, more Colorado, but they'll work their way. They'll work their way. Colorado is where they introduced them, and people think, we want these wolves. Look, there's plenty of wolves in the world. I mean, where there's cattle and ranchers, I don't think it's a good idea to have a bunch of wolves, because wolves they multiply like crazy and they decimate the elk population.
Yeah, because they don't have a predator.
Right? And I think also, people ask sometimes, well, you're shooting them at 750 yards, you're not a hunter. I've heard people say that kind of crap too. It's like, hey, listen, I know archery hunters and they got to get within 30, 40 yards. That's true. But when you're archery hunting, you're usually hunting during the rut and you're calling them in. I'm not saying it's easier. Archery.
It's a different skill set.
It's a different skill set. People think that, I'm going to go archery elk hunting during the rut and I'm going to call a bull in to 30 yards. I'm going to smoke it. Well, you think that until you go. Like when I go on an archery elk hunt, this is going to be a candidate for an area I'm going to go. Because it's crazy during the rut. They go, you got to come back during the rut bow hunting. But and they actually went 100% this year on shot opportunities.
Wow,
that's crazy. On mature bulls, right? On good bulls. So that's pretty high odds. So I'm going, okay, if I'm going to go with a bow, I'm going to go to a place like that. But you gotta get these landowner tags or draw a good tag, and you got to go know where to go. That's something too. People, I don't want to go guided. I want to go and do it myself. I respect your wanting to do that. But if you drew a tag in this area we went to, and let's say this ranch wasn't private, and you could hunt it without having access, it was a BLM, let's say.
Yeah.
To be successful, I mean, you probably have a 10%, 20% shot opportunity.
Wow.
Because you don't know where to go. You don't know where the roads are. You don't know what roads are safe and not. There's some roads, I mean, you're starting to slide off, and the mountain's like this, then there's a road, and it drops off another 1,000 feet and straight down. Mm-hmm. And you're driving along, and sometimes that back end starts sliding, and that back tire's about to go off the edge. Yeah. And there were a couple times I'm like, guys, I think I'll just get out and walk. I'll watch you. I
think I'll hike.
It was a little bit sketcy, man. So it's an adventure. So anyway, there's all those kind of things that, you know, for somebody who's new to hunting, save up, you know, put money away and pay to go with somebody in a great area that can help you learn, especially when you're first getting started. I mean, I grew up hunting, and I wouldn't want to go out there without somebody that knew the area, knew the roads, knew where to go. Yeah. And I know how to survive. I mean,
Well, that goes with everything, right? If you want to have long-term success, you probably should find someone who's done it already.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Knows the roads, knows the ins and outs, right?
Everything. Yeah. I mean, learning what not to do is just as important as learning what to do.
Yeah.
And so I think, having a mentor is the fastest way to learn, right? It just is. Having someone that can be there with you. So, yeah, man, the few times I've gone out with you and just the little experience that I've gotten in a short amount of time, I think that, I don't know. I just can't imagine people would say things like that, like, hey, shooting at 750 is not hunting, because just getting to that point is a hunt. It's a lot of work. And then having the skill set to take a shot at 750 yards is a whole nother, I mean, that's a whole nother ball game, you know?
It is.
And so I think for me, I have a lot of respect for anybody that can or is willing to go do those things.
Well, I always want to be careful too. Like I kind of hate saying I took a shot at 1350.
Yeah.
Because people could argue that's not ethical.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have taken that shot if I didn't feel like I could have killed that elk at 1350.
But how many times have you hit a target at 1,350 yards on a windy day?
Like a 12-inch target.
Yeah. How many times? Hundreds?
Bunch, yes. You know? So it's not ideal.
Right.
I wouldn't like, it's not like, I want to see if I can hit this elk. It's like, okay, I can do this. Can we get closer? Yeah. No, we can't get close. We try to get closer. Yeah. And every time we try to get closer, he was further up. So we'd go down. So it was the same distance, but it was a steeper angle. I'm like, let's just go up higher. We're more of a flat shot, and I can hit him, you know? And I just, you know what it is, 10,000 feet elevation is a little bit different on your dope. Yep. And I just needed one more minute, and I, just missed it. Yeah. So, but that's part of how it goes. Not perfect. You know? And even 750, I don't even like, I shot it at 750. That's cool. I mean, I wouldn't do that unless you've practiced. I've practiced hundreds of times. We practice hundreds of times at 500 to 1,000 yards, so that our 500 in shots are hopefully cake. Yeah. Right. I prefer a 500 or 600 yarder in with a rifle. And then depending on the situation, sometimes it's really windy. Sometimes you can't get set up. If you can't get prone on your belly or get on shooting sticks and get really sturdy, then a 200 yard shot's a long shot. Yeah. So it really depends on.
Yeah. Cause even 500 yards, the other day I was shooting 500 yards on a tripod and it's totally different than, being down.
And you have a good tripod. It's solid, right? Mm-hmm. It's steady. And 500 yards, you notice every little movement.
Oh, yeah. There's still a skill set behind it for sure.
There is. In fact, one of my shots on that bull, I had to get on my tripod because he moved after I hit him the one time, and I had to use my tripod. And at 750, that's a tough to get, especially when you're excited.
Yes.
And you're going, I got to get another bullet in him because I don't want him to get. I don't want to have to track him for miles. Yeah. So luckily, I was able to get another bullet in him, and it put him down, and I don't want him suffering either. You know, I hate that. Yeah. So it was awesome.
Sounds like a blast, man. Yeah. I can't wait. I'm so excited for 2023.
Yeah.
And 2024. I've got some big goals, man.
Good. Me too, man. We're doing it together. We're doing a lot of them together. So I'm real excited about that. In fact, I'm excited about this coming year, working with you on a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about today with what we're going to do with Solid. Yeah. Talking about hiring a guide and having someone who's been there, who's done it, who's doing it. You're a guy who people can look to because you are doing it. You've done it and you're doing it. Yeah. And, I'm watching your fitness, watching your diet, watching your how you're raising your kids, how you're working on your marriage all the time, building your relationships. I mean, I don't know that there's anybody that I know as close as you that works on relationships harder than you do.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think that all these things there's so much you have to offer as we start putting together these events here. People go, I've had people ask me, I know they've asked you, are you guys going to do some events or coaching? Yeah.
Yeah.
This year.